All right, so in 4.4 day 2, we're going to keep talking about completing the square, but today we're only going to talk about times when a does not equal 1. Right, when we're completing the square, we always need our a to be equal to 1, so we're going to figure out what to do when it doesn't. So for number 1, we have 6a squared plus 6a minus 64 equals 8. So to get our a squared term so that it has a coefficient of 1, we're going to need to divide by 6, right? Now before we divide by 6, I am going to add 64 to the other side, just because it will give us easier numbers. You can divide by 6 before you move it, but you will get some fractions and you'll have to add those. But you'll get the same thing. So we have 6a squared plus 6a equals 72. Now we want to divide out that 6. And remember, whatever you do to one side, you got to do the other. So we have a squared plus a equals 72 divided by 6 is 12. Okay, so now we need to find what value we need to add to both sides so that we can make a perfect square. So that's when we take our b value, which is 1, we divide it by 2, so we get 1/2. Then we need to square it. 1/2 squared is 1/4, right? 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. So we're going to add a 4th to each side. So we have a squared plus a plus 1/4 equals 12 plus 1/4. So on the left side here, we can rewrite that as a perfect square. We get a plus 1/2 squared. So remember, whatever your b divided by 2 is, that's the number that's going to go right here. On the right side, we have 12 plus 1/4. Well, to add these, you can do it in the calculator, but we want to make sure to keep it in a fraction so that it'll be easier to deal with. If we have a decimal, it's a little bit harder and you have to use a calculator if you use a decimal. So how are we going to add 12 plus 1/4? Well, we need to get a common denominator, right? We need them both to be over 4 so we can combine them. So to make 12 over 4, we're going to multiply it by 4 over 4. So we get 48 over 4, right? That's the same as 12 plus 1/4. So it's going to be 49 over 4. So on our right side here, we have 49 over 4. Now let's take our square root of both sides. We get a plus 1/2 equals, now the square root of 49 over 4, remember, when you're taking the square root of a fraction, you can do the top and the bottom separately. So the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of 4 is 2, and then we just need to make sure we have our plus or minus. Okay, so if we subtract our 1/2 from both sides, we're going to get a equals negative 1/2 plus or minus 7 over 2. So that means we have a equals negative 1/2 plus 7 over 2, which if we do that, negative 1 plus 7 is 6 over 2, which will give us 3. And we also have a equals negative 1/2 minus 7 over 2. And negative 1 minus 7, that's going to be negative 8 over 2, which is negative 4. So those would be your answers for this first one, 3 and negative 4. All right, let's look at the second one. We have 9b squared plus 18b minus 34 equals 6. So again, we do want to divide by 9, but I'm going to add 34 over first just to make it a little bit easier. So we have 9b squared plus 18b equals 34 plus 6, 34 plus 6 is going to be 40. Now we're going to divide both sides by 9. So we get b squared plus 2b. And on the right side, 40 divided by 9 doesn't go in evenly, so I'm going to keep it as a fraction. Now let's find what value we need to add to make a perfect square. Do our b value, which is 2, divided by 2, so that'll give us 1. And 1 squared is 1. So that means we're going to add 1 to both sides. So on the left side, b squared plus 2b plus 1 is going to turn into b plus 1 squared. Right, our b divided by 2 goes right there. And then on the right side, we have 40 over 9 plus 1. And if we're going to add that together, 40 over 9 plus 1, well, 1 is just 9 over 9, right? If we get a common denominator. So we have 49 over 9. And then we just need to solve for b. So we're going to take our square root, and get b plus 1 equals, the square root of 49 over 9 is going to be 7 over 3, plus or minus. We still need our plus or minus every time. We'll subtract 1, so we get b equals negative 1 plus or minus 7 over 3. Okay, so if we do those out, b equals negative 1 plus 7 over 3. That's going to be negative 3 over 3 plus 7 over 3, right? 3 over 3 is 1, so that'll be 4/3. And then we also have b equals negative 1 minus 7 over 3. So again, negative 3 over 3 minus 7 over 3. Negative 3 minus 7 will be negative 10/3. And those will be our two answers for that one.